This is Mobile Marketing Magazine. I'm Peggy Ann Salz, and I am here today with Steve Chan, VP General Manager at Airship. And we have to kick it off because you have been in mobile for 25 years. I am probably similar, so we're both veterans here. Looking back over all of the significant shifts that you have observed in a good 25 years, what do you want to share with us today as one of the most important shifts that you've observed?
It's evolved massively. I think probably the biggest shift is going to be like as vendors started getting really heavily involved in marketing, right? So the mobile marketing ecosystem used to be a handful of vendors. Now it is like thousands of vendors. And that's really because of the capability of the device has really evolved. I think one of the other things that changed was like who owned the experience and then what you could offer the marketeer. So the consumer is all in their phones, it gives you a really great experience. You've got, it's one-to-one, but, the people that really own it were the product owners. You're building an app, that's,
right.
your apps, but the marketeers are saying, well, hang on, I want to be able to talk to those people, or I want to be able to communicate or market to them. How do I do that? And that's where the sort of vendor overlap became, and that's really when, I think that really changed things, because you get a lot more creativity happening. There's a lot of vendors now sitting, working with marketers to direct their products as what they can do.
This huge conversation. It's always interesting that it's also becoming more of a two-way conversation as well. Different channels, different ways of communicating, and brands are part of that. What do you believe brands have not yet grasped about the conversation, the rules of engagement, their role in this?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think, you're right. The device gives you that opportunity to be really personal and really conversational. So you could have a one-to-one conversation with the brand and the consumer. But what I think many brands still struggle with is joining the dots cohesively across like all the touch points. And if you still have it now, you still have those consumer frustrations of like, I'm trying to sign up, how do I get in? What's the blocker? Or the experience of like, oh, I'm in a website, but now how do I get the app? And then you go into the app and you're completely new again. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. Didn't I go through this process? Definitely the technologies are becoming more and more available to join the dots, even with, some of the restrictions that are in place with, devices, the data sharing, etc.
Probably even more important with the restrictions that are in place, that you join up the signals, you join up the dots, and you have a proper experience.
And one of the reasons is still down to the way in which marketers measure, app success. They used to just talk about all the time how many installs I've got. I've just got how many downloads. How many downloads have you got? Who's got 100,000 downloads? That's all they care about was the downloads. And the reality is that doesn't matter. What really matters is how many people are using it and continue to use and enrich themselves with the experience and that utility or, loyalty or engagement. So firstly, I think it is the challenge around like the metric, like, are we measuring ourselves on just downloads? If you are, then of course, then you're driving your metrics to performance and to drive those downloads. So then all the advertising is driven to drive downloads, but are they the right users, right? Are you targeting the right people to download? The same thing kind of exists around between that difference of product and marketeers, who owns the app, who owns the experience, who owns retention. What we're starting to see is that the marketing teams start to have like customer journey owners, right? Which are now thinking about the journey of the customer right from the day they know about the brand to the day they sign up to the day they download to the day, and as I say, building that connected journey all the way through ensures that then you can maximize the percentage of people they're going to retain.
What do you think is a particular critical trend that you believe brands need to address perhaps in the year ahead or maybe even right now?
I think it is that frustration that consumers are having, that disconnection that happens all the time. We see it so many times. I mean, I look at apps all the time. I go through things as a consumer. I think about a lot of the journeys are about, of course, action, but you've got to give them the reason. What brands are lacking is they still see things like the app as a siloed environment and driving people to download as a siloed thing. They're different teams that do that. And then people that do the web, that's a different team. People doing CRM, that's a different team. But some of the best brands are actually putting in place, full customer journey models, and touch points, and that's what I think we all see we need to be doing a lot more.
Yeah, it is a new territory. I've also heard marketers talk more about making CRM the hub that will feed that information, that data, because now we need data more than ever. And if someone's opted in, happy days. Let product understand it, let marketing understand it, and make that the hub. But to your point, it's a new blueprint. There's a lot that brands need to learn. It's a good thing for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's organizational, because you've got to think that if your organization's set up in silos, and it historically has been, right? Here's your email team, here's your app team, right? If you're doing that, then you're never going to be able to bring it all together. You almost need a mentality of, right, we are going to deliver the best customer experience. And you see that from brands all over that are doing really well. Like, if they think about the experience end to end and they're set up to do it, you can solve those problems.
And of course, agreeing on the signals. That has to be the final and the first point of contact. That has to be the source of truth as well. And thank you.
No, thank you.
Also for sharing your insights. And Steve, I love your thoughts about the customer journey. Hopefully, brands are listening in right now.
Cool. Thank you very much.